Hello, my people. Good day to you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time zone you're listening to this, I welcome you to Daily Mind Shifts with Minister Mike. My name is Michael Ojola for Mindset Transformation Africa, and on today's episode, I want to remind you about what you tolerate. All right, let me just anchor today's episode straight on this statement. You are teaching people how to treat you by what you tolerate from them. So be careful. You are teaching people how to treat you by what you tolerate from them. So be careful. Today we will talk about something that I know it might not be comfortable for you to hear, but it's one of the most empowering truths that you will encounter. You are teaching people how to treat you, all right, by what you tolerate from them. So I want you to be careful. I want you to let that sink in for a moment. It's powerful. It means that every interaction, every response, every boundary you set or don't set is a lesson to the people around you about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And whether you realize it or not, people are watching, okay? They are learning from how you respond to mistreatment, from how you respond, how you handle disrespect, and how you allow yourself to be valued or devalued. What we tolerate is a silent teacher. People don't treat us the way we deserve. They treat us the way we allow them to treat us. Every time we let something slide, whether it's a snide remark, a blatant disrespect, or a failure to honor some boundaries here and there, we are sending a message. And that message is, this is okay, I'll tolerate this. See, no, don't get me wrong, okay? Setting boundaries and standing up for yourself doesn't mean you have to confront every little offense with a dramatic showdown and all that shit. No. But it means that you need to be aware of patterns. Because over time, what you tolerate becomes normalized. What was once a one-time incident becomes a recurring issue. And before you know it, you are stuck in a cycle of disrespect, mistreatment, and devaluation that you never intended to sign up for. The truth is, people will treat you based on the standards that you set for yourself. If you're someone who respects your boundaries, you value your own time, you hold others accountable for how they treat you, guess what? People will follow suit. Is it that they leave you alone or they don't fuck with you or they follow suit? They will know that if they want to be in your life, they have to respect the standards that you've set. But if you allow people to cross your boundaries without consequence, if you tolerate disrespect without addressing it, you've just taught them a lesson that they can get away with whatever way they treat you. However they treat you, they can get away with it. See, why do we tolerate things that we know are not okay with us? Why do we allow people to treat us in ways that deep down we know we don't deserve? I think one of the biggest reasons is fear. Fear of conflict, fear of being seen as a difficult person. I reconciled these two fears a long time ago. So I'm not scared of you labeling me as being difficult, or maybe somebody that is not somebody that is afraid of conflict. Oh shit, I've overcome these two way back. And I've overcome the fear of losing relationships. I've overcome the fear of being alone. These 4 fears, fear of conflict, fear of being difficult, fear of losing relationships, fear of being alone, fuck it. I've overcome all of them. For real. So I'm recommending that, see, one of the biggest reasons why we tolerate shit and why we let people treat us worse than we think we deserve is because of these 4 fears. We often tolerate mistreatment because we think that standing up for ourselves will cause more problems than it solves. We think, if I confront this now, will it make things worse? Will they walk away from me? Will I be left with nothing? See, this is what I want you to understand. Tolerating mistreatment doesn't prevent any problems. It creates more problems. When you allow someone to cross your boundaries without consequence, it chips away at your self-esteem. It chips away at your peace. It chips away at your sense of worth. You may avoid conflict in the short term, but in the long term, you're building a foundation of resentment. You're building a foundation of frustration. You're building a foundation of self-doubt. And let's be honest with ourselves. How often do we tolerate something because we don't want to rock the boat, only to find ourselves simmering in resentment later on? We just start hating people. We think we are keeping the peace, but really we are sacrificing our own peace in the process. See, there is a connection between your self-worth and your boundaries, because at the end of the day, how you allow people to treat you is a direct reflection of how you see yourself. If you believe deep down within yourself that you deserve respect, love, consideration, you're not going to tolerate anything less. No, you're going to set boundaries and you are going to enforce them. But if you struggle with self-worth, if you are unsure of your value, or you feel like you don't deserve better, you're much more likely to tolerate disrespect, tolerate neglect, tolerate mistreatment. Every of the things I've mentioned, they're all connected. If you don't value yourself, it is hard for you to expect other people to value you. If you don't believe you are worthy of respect, you won't enforce boundaries that demand respect. So, before we talk about how to stop tolerating mistreatment, you need to talk about your self-worth. Because in many cases, the things we tolerate are a reflection of the way we feel about ourselves. Think about it. If you believe you deserve to be treated with kindness, dignity, and respect, you're not going to let someone talk down on you or walk all over you. No. You will set a boundary and say, see, this is not okay by me. You don't talk to me that way. But if you don't believe you are worthy of that kind of treatment, you will rationalize it. You say, oh, they are just kidding. They don't mean it that way. You will minimize that. Nah, that's how he jokes. You will excuse it. You will excuse it. You won't enforce anything because you believe you should be treated like that. So the first step in changing how people treat you is changing how you see yourself. You have to believe with every fiber of your being that you deserve better. You have to believe with everything within yourself that you are worth more. And once you believe that, the boundaries will follow. You don't just set boundaries when you yourself don't even value you. You set boundaries after you've worked on your own self-worth and you value yourself more. So, this is what I will say. There are unspoken expectations, and it's dangerous for you to have unspoken expectations. A lot of times, we tolerate things because we assume people should just know how to treat us. We think they should know now. That's not okay. They should know that is not okay. They should know they shouldn't talk to me like that. I should not be telling them. They should know. Okay, sit down there. They don't know. They are not built for you. They are built for themselves. So why should they know when you've not express yourself, when you've not communicated it? People cannot read your mind. They don't know what your boundaries are unless you communicate them. You might assume that it is common sense not to interrupt you when you are having an important conversation, and that it's obvious that you expect respect in your relationship. But unless you are you've explicitly stated those boundaries, people may not know, and when they don't know, they won't honor it. That is why it's important for you to speak up. If someone crosses your boundary, address it immediately. Don't wait for them to figure it out on their own. Be clear about what you will and will not tolerate. All right? And here is the thing. Enforce those boundaries. Let there be consequences. Because a boundary without enforcement is just a mere suggestion. Let me repeat that. A boundary without enforcement is just a mere suggestion. If someone crosses a line and you let it slide, they've learned that your boundary isn't really a boundary at all. It is flexible. It is negotiable. And that is a dangerous precedent to set. You have to be willing to back up your boundaries with action. If someone disrespects you, there have to be consequences. Maybe that means having a difficult conversation. Maybe it means distancing yourself from that person. Maybe it means walking away from that relationship. Whatever it is, you have to be willing to stand firm on your boundaries, even when it is absolutely uncomfortable. So, how do you break this? Identify what you've been tolerating. Then examine why you've been tolerating those things. Set clear boundaries. Enforce those boundaries. Practice self-worth, because how you see yourself is how people will see you. You have the power to teach people how to treat you. Every day, in every interaction, you're sending a message, all right, about what you will and will not tolerate. So be careful. Be mindful of what you are allowing into your life, because what you tolerate is what will continue. I know it's not easy, but stand up for yourself nonetheless. Demand the respect that you deserve. It is necessary. It is absolutely necessary, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for teaching people how